It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L-A-R.
Hello, friends and family and everyone in between. Everyone that's tuning in to us for the first of the millionth time. It is time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I am today's host, Alex Clark, joined, as always, by our very own non-roster invitees in Ryan Splash Potts and Mathias Altman Kurosaki. My main men, how are we doing on this Wednesday afternoon?
Okay, this is a fitting intro, a repeated intro, but it's fitting given how good. Well, yes. Given how good Roki Sasaki was last night, I guess he counts as an NRI because he is on a minor league contract.
Yeah, he's a minor league deal. So
he had 7 whiffs on the splitter. Ellie De La Cruz did take him oppo for a double, which was nice. But yeah, welcome to Major League Baseball, Roki Sasaki. I still don't buy the NL Rookie of the Year odds, but welcome. I'm doing by the way well.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, I'd say. It's starting to feel a little more spring-like, which is promising, I'd say. Other than that, unfortunately, we have some issues at our Upper East Side gym where I coach. So I coached last night, but missed a couple days this week. We're closed at least through this week. Hopefully, Con Edison comes and helps us out here. But yeah, I'm doing all right. Ready to talk baseball. We're 2 weeks away from that Tokyo series.
I am so excited just for baseball at this point. I'm actually kind of disappointed that Mariners.com is not broadcasting today's game because that would have been fun to have. But oh well, no worries. I'm existing. It's been a rough morning here. I'm not going to go into details and all that, but honestly, I'm just excited to talk some baseball again. Because right now it has been an interesting week. And now we're talking about one of my favorite positions. And that is, yes, it's a position, the designated hitter, the Edgar Martinez position. Here, we have come up with our top 5 DHs going into 2025. And one thing that I want to make sure we're being very clear on, not every team even has a DH. Here, like we had a pre-show bit when we were talking about who counted even as a DH for certain teams. Some teams technically have 2. It's weird. But if you think that someone else that we don't talk about today is a DH and should count, let us know on Twitter at LAR_baseball. Here, also let us know on Instagram. You can also let us know by leaving a comment down below on the video here on YouTube. But we have all compiled our top 5 designated hitters going into 2025. Let's start off with Mac. So I know that for all of us, there were some interesting names that at the end of the list here. It could have really shuffled between a few of them. The top of the list seemed pretty strong. But
Yeah, so as I begin all of my lists, I do have a couple guys that I wanted to fit on, but I just couldn't find a way. And the most interesting name to me was Giancarlo Stanton. Man, just let this guy play a full season healthy just one more time. We know how great he can be. He tears the cover off the ball, but he's also probably one of the most volatile hitters in baseball, maybe the most volatile hitter, just the way he destroys baseballs, but also like he can barely move. He swings and misses a lot. He strikes out a lot. But when he makes contact, the ball goes really far and is normally hit with a very high exit velocity. So he's a guy I had to leave off. I also had to leave off Jock Peterson. It's kind of tough to judge platoon bats, and that's exactly what he is. He does not hit lefties. He's mainly just a platoon guy. And Christian Yelich was another tough omission for me. It's still unclear if he's actually going to be a DH, but it looks like it's going to be given his ongoing back problems in the Brewers outfield defense. But my number 5 is Kyle Schwarber. I'm a big Kyle Schwarber fan. I wish he wasn't in the National League East. But he's just an absolute masher. Another guy who hits the ball really hard. He's basically the poster boy for the 3 true outcomes type of hitter. He'll walk. He walked 15% of his plate appearances, struck out close to 29%. But he also hit 38 homers. So he led the league in walks. He scored 110 runs, which is a career high. He bats at the top of the lineup. Because of Bryce Harper playing first base, he gets the DH spot over Nick Castellanos. And he's a masher. And last year he actually put together more of a complete season. If you remember in 2023, he batted 197. Last year he hit 248. And his OPS was up to 851. So he's 30 to 40% better than league average, it feels like, every year, especially when he is able to hit around 250. So Schwarber's my number 5.
Yeah, I'll go next here then. I have a few honorable mentions. I also don't have Stanton on my list. I want him to have a full season because when he is healthy, is one of the most exciting batters to watch, because you know that it's like a firework, right? It's not always going to be perfect, and that wait for when it finally goes off is agonizing, it feels like at times. But when it goes off, oh, it's a bang. Also honorable mentions here to, like you said, Jock Peterson. I also don't have Schwarber on my list. I really thought about putting Schwarber on. He actually was my number 5 during the original pre-show, and I think I ended like 5 times during that time. So my number 5, I did put Yelich on my list. I think that Yelich, his huge season that he had last year, does warrant him at least being on the top 5 here. If he didn't have all the health problems, honestly, I probably might even put him higher. But at this point right now, I need to know, can he stay healthy? And I think that his ceiling is a little bit higher than Stanton's right now. But that's, again, just purely because I trust him to play more than I trust Stanton to play a full season, which, don't get me wrong, both of them have their injury history and injury problems going into 2025, but I'm giving the slight edge to Christian Yelich.
I think this might be a record. If memory serves, this is the 7th consecutive player that Mac and I have had in the same location. My number 5 designated hitter is, of course, Kyle Schwarber. Last year, there was a weird platoon split that Kyle Schwarber had.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 of them. I'm going to highlight one. A small one. He was better away from Citizens Bank Park. Like Citizens Bank Park. You guys are familiar. This is
Hitter's Paradise, yes.
Like all of the home runs, all of the hits. Kyle Schwarber hit better away from Philly. Number 2. Kyle Schwarber, known left-handed hitter, hit 300 against other lefties. I don't have words. Like it wasn't
not a guy you'd think of,
right? It wasn't like a small sample size. He had like several hundred plate appearances against lefties, and hit 300. There was a 389 BABIP. I don't think that's exactly likely to continue. He does hit the ball hard, so the BABIP's going to be a little higher. The fly ball profile that doesn't lend itself to a big BABIP, but yeah, Kyle Schwarber hit 300. It was against lefties. It was a very bizarre season. Again, 38 homers, drove in 100 runs for the third year for the second year in a row. Scored 100 runs for the third time as a Philly. 197 strikeouts. That's not great. And I see people like you complain about that, rightly so. 106 walks, that you'll take that. 60 total extra base hits, you'll take that. He has a 129 OPS plus with Philadelphia. That's great. And when you don't play him in the field, it's even better, right? And this was his first full year as a DH. He was a left fielder in 22, and then in 2023 he was like forced to be a left fielder with the Bryce Harper injury stuff. But yeah, just not the guy you want to face in the playoffs. He's usually really good. Last year he didn't happen to be very good.
Yeah, only went 2 for 16.
Yeah, but career 906 OPS in the playoffs. And we've talked about it before. I like to point this out with Ronald in particular, but being able to start the game off with a home run is a big middle finger to the other team. Kyle Schwarber is perhaps the best at doing this.
Didn't he break a record for leadoff homers this year?
I
believe he did.
I want to say he did.
I'm not sure. I can't.
Like most in a season.
Perhaps. I don't think it's not the most homers out of the leadoff spot. Ronald had 41 the year before. But I could look that up when we're done. But yeah, Schwarber's my number 5. And I'm going to transition to my number 4. Just for the sake of staking here, imagine telling someone even 20 years ago how many designated hitters finished the top 10 in MVP voting. I'm going to go with one of them, and that's Brent Rooker of the Oak. I got to pay.
The A's. They're just the A's.
The A's.
The logo here, but I have Brent Rooker here. Massive season at the Coliseum. Big time power and a more well-rounded profile than one would imagine, actually. If we recall, the A's had a look ahead to their Las Vegas stadium, and they said Brent Rooker would hit around 300. And Foolish Baseball made a post that there's no chance, right? And Brent Rooker hit 293 last season. And I know that's not 300, but when you hit 39 homers, you drive in 112 runs, you even steal 11 bags, it counts to me. A 165 OPS plus, that's great. Finished 10th.
That's insane, yeah.
On a 69 win A's team. Quite nice. And moving to a friendlier ballpark, we might see a 40 homer season from Mr. Brent Rooker. And he was an all-star in 23, Silver Slugger last year, and just one of the best stories in baseball. You know, we can play the hits. There's plenty of guys. There's a guy in every roster that was in independent ball or was in the Mexican League or, has some, roundabout trip to being an MLB player, roundabout trip to being a star. Well, Brent Rooker is one of them. Like a breakout season at 28. And then, how sustainable is that? Well, how about a 38-point boost in OPS plus, a 110-point boost in OPS? Just a spectacular season. They're going to try to mix him into the outfield, probably in left field with Lawrence Butler in right and J.J. Bleday in center. But an exceptional talent and a 40 homer guy, potentially.
It still completely bugs me that Esteury Ruiz is not on the main squad. I understand he has some hitting issues, but I still think he is a excellent ball player. Yeah. All right, Matt, who do you got at number 4?
Yeah. So at number 4, I'm going in a little different direction. I have Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna mashes, by the way. And I think it's just tough because the top 3, I think, are in a different tier personally. But Ozuna last year, it's weird because he did finish the year with 39 homers, but he only hit 2 in September, which is confusing to me. But he mashed basically every other month. 10 homers in July. He had 1,036 OPS in April. Overall, I mean, you could say that was his best offensive season. Career high 154 OPS plus. That's just he was basically carrying that Braves offense last year. I mean, they probably don't even make that wild card round without him. 154 WRC plus to boot. He hits the ball really hard. It's crazy because this is a guy who was a Gold Glover when he was on the Marlins. Now he's exclusively a DH, but he makes the most of his at-bats. He hit 40 homers in 2023, 39 last year. Yes, his strikeout rate did go up, but his walk rate also went up. Yes, he had a 359 BABIP, but when you hit the ball as hard as he does, you can afford that, and you can show that your offense is sort of sustainable. He doesn't hit the ball as hard as Schwarber, but overall, I think Ozuna is a pretty complete hitter. And I think it's safe to say he's number 4. I see there could be an argument to put him in the top 3. But personally, I have him at number 4. I hate facing him as a Mets fan. It feels like he turns into like Hank Aaron or someone like that whenever he faces the Mets. And that dates back to his Marlins days. But yeah, Ozuna is I couldn't leave him off this list this year. I left him off last year, but yeah, he's number 4 for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo that. I also have Ozuna at number 4 here. And it's really honestly because I think that the top 3 are, like you said there, Mac, like they're in a different league at this point. And Ozuna is an incredible ball player. And when you get like on the offensive side of things, like when you watch him play, yeah, he's another one of those guys that you have to pitch around him a little bit, which is harder to do in that strong Atlanta Braves lineup when it's actually fully healthy here. But right now, you have that full lineup with him. He's going to continue to produce. Even when it's not healthy, he still produces. Going into the 2025 projections here for Ozuna, right now is projected to get a 15-point more offensive F4 here, and projected to get just shy of a 10% walk rate, which honestly, that's not bad. It's not great, mind you, but that's also definitely not bad. Definitely needs to tone down a bit on the strikeouts, but the dude hits the ball hard, and an expected WRC plus of 122. I mean, the dude is a solid hitter. That's all that he needed to be at this point. And now that he can't be a fielder, it's good to see that he's really upped that offense here to continue to be an everyday guy. So let's go to Splash next on this. So Splash, who do you have to start your top three?
Well, I have one, the only Ozuna from the Braves, Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah.
Listen, I think you guys are underselling how good and how valuable Marcell Ozuna was last year. I know Brent Rooker ended up with a higher OPS plus, and I know the only 2 home runs in September. He still had a 775 OPS thereabouts, and was 2 for 7 in the playoffs for what that matters. But when it mattered, Marcell Ozuna came through over and over and over. It was uncanny the number of times that the Braves would have nothing going and Ozuna would drive in the kick-starting run, drive in the big run. It even happened in game 162. He drives in the run to start Atlanta's, scoring. And that's a stressful time that the Mets are have nothing to play for. The Braves oh my God, right? Are we going to really lose and miss the playoffs and all this? And Ozuna's like, fellas, I'm taking us to the promised land. And since the beginning of May in 2023, there have been not many hitters better than Ozuna by WRC plus in that span. He is 6th. That is ahead of Corey Seager. That is ahead of Freddie Freeman. That is ahead of Bryce Harper. The guy's a better Judge, Ohtani, Soto, Alvarez, Betts. And he's played more games than all of them. He has, 1,200 plate appearances in that stretch, 77 home runs since the beginning of May. He even stole a base last year. One of the highlights in an otherwise pretty sad season. Stole third, bad throw, takes home. So great play there. He's hit 300 in that stretch. He's a very complete hitter. He's a guy that, I don't know if he hits 300 again, but he can run a pretty reasonable batting average in this day and age. He hits for power, 39 home runs last year, which is ironically down from the 40 he hit the year before, but very, very concentrated, May 2nd to August 31st. That's 75 home runs, essentially. I get the stats aren't quite as good as Rooker's, but there's a reason he finished 4th in NL MVP voting. There's a reason that heading into June, I was advocating for him as the most valuable player in the National League. And of course, Ohtani ran away with it, so it didn't end up mattering, but just an insane season. And this could be his final year as a Brave, the ups and downs of a wicked 5-year deal. But this could be his final year as a Brave, and hopefully he plays all 162 games again like he did last year.
I didn't even realize that. That's great. I couldn't remember if he signed a 4 or 5 year contract. That's the thing. It feels like he's been with the Braves for a decade.
Yeah, this is entering year 6.
I remember he signed that 1-year deal in 2020. And then, inked a longer term deal. I'll go right ahead then to my number 3, and I have Brent Rooker. I'm a huge Brent Rooker fan. By the way, great tweeter also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brent Rooker has one of the best baseball Twitter accounts out there. But to your point, what you said earlier, Splash, I questioned whether he could repeat what he did in 2023, partially because he kind of fell off later in the season that year. But last year, I cannot believe he got left off the All-Star game rosters because he had over a 900 OPS at the All-Star break, and he maintained that in the second half of the season. But in a lineup where he didn't have much protection, and I think the A's lineup is going to take another step forward this year. They actually don't have a bad offense, but a 164 WRC plus will play wherever you are, but especially in a lineup where you don't have the best protection out there. 5.1 FWAR with basically not playing the field. That's pretty impressive. 39 home runs, 112 RBIs, 11 steals. He hits the ball pretty hard. Yes, he does strike out. His strikeout rate actually went down last year, but his 557 expected slugging percentage and 510 ex-Lobocon proved that I think this is sustainable. I think he could go out there and have another great season. Like you were saying, Splash, they're playing in a minor league stadium this year. I think it's realistic to expect 40, maybe even 45 home runs from Brent Rooker. Overall, just a great all-around player. And I think if he sticks to just hitting this year, I'm not expecting him to play I'm expecting him to play even less in the field this year. I think it's realistic to expect another big season. He's going to be a big piece to that A's lineup, who, like I said a second ago, I think they're going to take another step forward this year, and they actually could surprise some people. So I think Rooker's my number 3. I think that 10, 11 point gap in OPS plus and WRC plus puts them ahead of Ozuna.
So I'll go next then for my 3, last one to go. I also have Brent Rooker as my number 3, and I just kind of want to bring up something kind of funny here, because you've already gone through all the stats. I'm going to kind of just echo that he's going to be playing in a minor league ballpark all year, and even in harder ballparks and harsher scenarios, he's still clubbed over 30 home runs here, nearly 40, and he demolished the baseball. Like, the one funny thing I'm going to bring up here is that a couple of years ago, I believe it was, the Oakland A's at the time unveiled their design plans for the Las Vegas A's stadium and had a scoreboard in the top right-hand corner here. And on the scoreboard here, one of the players on it that showed there was Brent Rooker here. And the comments that everyone were flaming it, saying there's not a chance he is still an A at this point, because we know
that he's hitting 303.
Yeah. And well, now he just got extended. So I guess that argument goes out the window. But no, I think
that was a good contract.
Yeah. The only reason why Brent Rooker is not higher is because players 1 and 2 on this list are just simply on another planet. And I'll go into that then with my number 2. I have one, Yordangus Alvarenzo. It's Jordan Alvarez. I've said this before, and I'll say it again here. With a bat in his hand, he is arguably the most dangerous hitter on the planet. The only people that I legitimately think I fear on the same level or a bit more are Judge and Soto. Not even Ohtani at that thing. I fear that player with a bat in his hands. I still remember the 2022 divisional round here, hitting the lefty homer off of Robbie Ray. But no, watching this man play baseball, it feels like it's an off day when he doesn't hit a home run, right? And for a player in Major League Baseball to be that way, that is insane. You take a look at the power numbers for Yordan Alvarez, the isolated power here. This dude hits the ball harder than almost anyone out there. He, of all DHs here on our lists here, has the highest expected slugging, the highest expected WRC plus here. With a bat in his hands, Yordan is one of the best players in all of baseball. The one issue, and I mean one issue with him, is a little bit of health. He has had a lot of injury concerns, especially with knees. I've had plenty of knee injuries myself, and I can say from experience, I know you guys probably can too, knee injuries are the hardest ones to come back from, and to come back here and play at the level that you expect yourself to play at. And if he plays fully at DH, which now with the move of Altuve over to left is looking more and more likely, you don't have to worry about it as much, but you watch him, again, Yordan Alvarez is the definition of fear. when you put a baseball bat in his hands. Does not matter. You could put in a lefty to face him, he'll mash him. You put in your best closer to face him, he'll mash him. He has proven that on every level against every bit of competition, he can succeed.
Yeah, I also have Yordan Alvarez at number 2. With a bat in his hands, like you were saying, it's a sledgehammer, really. Every time he swings, it feels like he's going to do something. And look, as a Mets fan, I only watched the Mets play against him at most 4 times in the season. And actually, it's the Mets opened the season in Houston. But it feels like every time the Mets play against them, he does something ridiculous. I think in 2022, the Mets played 4 games against the Astros, 2 in Houston, 2 in New York, and I believe he had 2 multi-homer games. It was just every time he swung the bat, it was just like he hits the ball so hard and hits the ball so far. And to your point, the health issues are real. He's had injured list stints in the past. He 147 games this year in 2024, where his career high, 114 in 2023, 135 in 2022, and 144 in 2021. But 2020 only played in 2 games. I think those leg injuries are definitely something to keep an eye on. But luckily, they do say they are trying to limit his games in the outfield. He played 53 games in left field this past year. He played 40 the year before that. He played 56 the year before that. And he played 41 the year before that. So I don't expect him to play much of the field this year. And I think that's going to help his offense significantly. Like we said with Rooker, the more time you are able to keep him off the field, I think the more productive he's going to get. He's a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. He walks at a decently good rate. He walked in 10.9% of his plate appearances in 24. That was a bit lower than 2023 and 2022, but his 15% strikeout rate was the lowest it's been over a full season. So he tears the cover off the ball. I think it's perfectly reasonable to now that he's going to be a full-time DH, it's reasonable to expect him to hit 40 home runs this year. I could even see him hitting more. The only tough part is going to be he doesn't have Kyle Tucker or Alex Bregman around anymore. So we'll see how carefully pitchers are with pitchers pitch to him. But yeah, he's number 2. And the only reason he's not number 1 is because number 1 is on his own planet.
I want to say one thing real quick before we go too much further here, because I just thought of an analogy I want to use here. For anybody that has ever played like D&D or any tabletop role-playing game, anything like that, the best way to describe Yordan Alvarez is the GM just basically said that the big bad guy is charging out their main attack and then just starts rolling dice. That fear and that intimidation, that happens every single time he steps in the batter's box. Nay, every single time he swings the bat, you hear the dice rolling. You're like, oh no, what is about to happen? Please miss this. Please miss this. That's what it feels like going against Yordan Alvarez. And as a Mariner fan, I see Yordan Alvarez quite a lot.
Yeah, you get like a dozen games against him. So you're quite familiar with that.
I am quite familiar. And look, here's the thing. I look, if he was on any other team besides the Astros, I'd be like, oh, this dude's absolutely incredible. I still say that here. I just don't want to see him play against my team.
Yeah, I feel that. That's how I feel about guys like Schwarber and Ozuna. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to see them. Like, it's just... I
don't want to see them when my team is up by 1 run and the bases are loaded.
No.
Almost anyone else, just not you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Yordan's a reasonable answer to the all-time hypothetical. Bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 strikes, full count. Who do you want at the dish? Yordan Alvarez?
Yeah, Yordan.
Is a reasonable answer to that question. Here's the active players with 2,500 plate appearances. 2,500 plate appearances that have a higher OPS plus for their career than Yordan. Aaron Judge, Mike Trout.
Yeah,
that's the list.
I'd say.
On the all-time list, he's sandwiched between Ty Cobb and Jimmy Fox.
Pretty good company again.
Better than Juan Soto, better than Mark McGwire, better than Hank Greenberg, Sam Usual, better than Ohtani, better than Frank Thomas, better than Henry Aaron, better than DiMaggio, Mays, better than Manny Ramirez. Just an incredible hitter, and it's a hitter. It's very very Albert Pujols-y to me, that it's not just the power, it's a well-rounded profile that, like, the power is obviously plus. The contact, the hit tool is plus. Plate discipline is plus, but it's the fear. It's I'm going to take you 450 feet. Your family is going to be in danger. Your livelihood is going to be in danger. I'm him, basically. And like Alex said, like Max said, that's every plate appearance. And we can go back to our first baseman conversation. And why did I put Freddie Freeman over Bryce Harper? He doesn't give away plate appearances. He's always a threat to just, I'm going to line a double to the left center field gap. Yordan Alvarez, a similar hitter with even more power than Freddie Freeman. And just he hit 308 last year. That's a routine thing. He's a guy that, if we're making lists, we're betting on players to hit 300, have a 400 on base, have a 500 slug. Yordan is a pretty solid bet to do that. And it's probably best that he just plays 150 games at DH, maybe the occasional left field game at home, right? It's a pretty small left field. His arm has declined over the years, but some of that's an artifact of how often you're throwing the baseball, but just a incredible talent. And for a DH, he's received MVP votes 3 years in a row. He was third place in MVP voting in 2022 as a DH, right? He's not bringing defensive value. He's not bringing, like, he's going to play left a little bit, but he's not like a full-time left fielder or anything, but just an extraordinary player. And that'll lead us to my number one. For the first time, actually, I have Shohei Ohtani at number one. I've had
what?
I had Alvarez ahead of him the last 2 years.
No, I'm surprised you put Ohtani at number one. I thought,
it's actually Connor Capel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No, guys, Mitch Garver. What are you guys talking about?
It's going to be Jock Peterson against lefties.
I don't know. I think Ohtani's all right, but
over under 5 plate appearances for Jock against lefties this year.
I'll go a couple over.
Okay. I don't know. They're really probably going to try to platoon him.
Yeah. I'll go over on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Ohtani is the number one DH. He's led his league in OPS plus each of the last 2 years. He's been an OPS over 1,000 each of the last 2 years. Last year, he stole 59 bases, which is just preposterous. He was plus 10 base runs on Baseball Reference. And we've talked before about like how DHs accrue WAR. And I'm sure we can find in the annals of history how Alex hates WAR because it hates Edgar or something to that effect. But Shohei Ohtani had a 9-win season just as a DH. He was a 9 WAR player, pitching and hitting. When he had 9.9 WAR in 2023. Of course, he pitched most of the season. In 2021, he had 8.9 WAR. In 2022, he had 9.6. That's an incredible run. But last year, he did it all at the plate and on the base paths. And like I said last week, that 50-50 is probably more impressive than 40-70. He also tacked on 38 doubles and 7 triples, 134 runs scored, most in the majors, 197 hits. He hit 310. He was in play to win the Triple Crown. One of the few players ever that was in play to win both the Triple Crown and the Triple Slash. Had a 390 on base, which is not quite as good as it was last year, and a 646 slug, which is not as quite as good as it was last year. But he led the National League in plate appearances and had a higher OPS plus. So there's, a bit of a trade-off there that, maybe the OPS was 30 points down, but it was, given the run environment, given Dodger Stadium versus Angel Stadium, a little bit better. And again, 132 extra plate appearances, just one of the craziest seasons we're ever going to see. I don't think he steals 59 bases again. He might not hit 54 home runs again, but he is the number one DH in all of baseball.
So my number one DH is actually Dan Vogelback, currently the Pirates special hitting instructor out in Bradenton. But no, my number one is Shohei, and I don't think this year it's particularly close. One other accolade to add on is that he had 411 total bases. He's the first player since Todd Helton in 2001 to have over 400 total bases. Do you guys understand how crazy that is? In the 162 game season, he averaged over almost closer to 3 total bases per game. 190 OPS plus. Coming into the season, I didn't think it was possible for a straight up DH to win MVP, and he went out and did it. Like you said, Splash, I'm not expecting another 50-50 season. If he is pitching, he's obviously going to be much more careful with what he does on the base paths and even swinging at the plate. We've seen pitchers get hurt before swinging the bat. And heck, maybe, say that his return pitching doesn't go as planned or something. Maybe the Dodgers have him just hit, or maybe have him become a relief pitcher possibly. But his StatCast page is basically all red. He actually had a 660 expected slugging. His average exit velocity was a career high 95.8 miles per hour. That's some video game stuff. 60% hard hit rate. That's also some video game stuff. He's in the 100th percentile of expected slugging, average exit velocity, barrel percentage, and hard hit rate, and also the 99th percentile of xWOBA and expected batting average. So yeah, overall, Shohei Ohtani, baseball. Good. Yeah, and baseball fans will complain, oh my God, why does MLB always post this guy on social media? Guys, you guys always complain that the league does not market their players. And then they market their players, and you guys all go and complain. Look, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge are kind of in a class by themselves when it comes to hitting right now. And Ohtani, what more can I say? That was a true 4-tool season because he didn't play the field. He's going to get the pitching tool back this year, supposedly. So, yeah, Shohei Ohtani is number one, the 3-time MVP. I don't know what else to say about this guy. He's really, really in a class by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my number one, obviously it's going to be Sam Haggerty. Will be exclusively a hitter? No. It's Ohtani. And I could just say the same things you guys were saying, that this dude is one of the best players on the planet. Here, I'm going to bring up just one thing here. When I look at these lists here, there is one thing besides just the full ability to hit that Ohtani also sets himself apart of from everyone here. That's speed. You don't normally see speed from a DH as much. Not speed like Ohtani has. That's the reason for the war. That's the reason for everything else with it, is that I remember we had a conversation a while back ago. We were talking about MVPs between Ohtani and Judge. And it became the way of, what do you value more, pitching and hitting, or hitting and fielding? Well, now Ohtani has pitching and running and hitting. For you to steal 50 bases in a season here, you have to get on first base, right? Probably no more than 30 times. Fair enough, Splash. No more than, usually more than 40 plus times at that point. Yeah, you can't, Splash is showing the video here. Make sure you go check out our YouTube to go see Marcelo Ozuna try to run the bases. And, but no, Ohtani is stupidly fast. He hits the ball about as hard as you could possibly hit it. And he's just the best player in baseball. There, I said it, but I think
it's fair, especially if he comes back and pitches and is even give him a 120 ERA plus. Even I think, I have a hard time convincing myself that someone else is going to win MVP this year. It's crazy because he's won 3 MVPs in the last 4 years, and think back to 2020 when he had that really disastrous season where his arm was meeting its maker again, and he batted below the Mendoza line. I remember going on, shout out our old friend Rip Griffin. I remember going on his show, and we were all wondering, like we didn't know what to make of Ohtani anymore, because I know he had gotten off to a hot start in 21, but it was like, he just had a disastrous 2020 season. Is he going to actually win MVP? And he did. And the 1 year he didn't win MVP, it was because Aaron Judge did something truly historic and hit 62 home runs. And that kind of set the bar of what you have to do to beat Ohtani in the MVP race. You have to do something truly amazing.
You have to break age-old records.
Exactly.
To have a chance against Ohtani. But those are our lists. Here, let us know what you think. Do you think that we massively are overvaluing Shohei Ohtani? Do you think that Mitch Garver is going to have the breakout season like I really hope to God that he will? Let us know here on Twitter at LAR_baseball. We also have we'll have some of the stuff on Instagram. All same name, LAR Baseball, but also on YouTube and Spotify. Let us know what you think. We want to know if we completely forgot or are we completely undermining such incredible DH names here as Chris Bryant and Pavin Smith.
Jesse Winker.
And Jesse Winker.
Hey, man, Pavin Smith did have a pretty solid 60 games last season.
He
did.
I'm aware. I'm not dismounting them as I discredited them. I'm saying they're not top 5.
Okay. Also, shout out to greatest Xbox game ever made, Mount Your Friends.
I've played that game. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Definitely. All right. So now we're going to move on here to a quick 3 words only segment here before we get to everyone's favorite trivia. Here. So 3 words only. We had a topic we wanted to talk about last week. Didn't have time to do it, so we're putting it into this show here. And that is the use of the ABS system in spring training. Now, this has been something that's been used in the minor league system now for a couple of years, actually, I believe. And being able to challenge balls and strikes, you only have 2, but if you get it right, you keep your challenge here. And it can only come from the pitcher, hitter, or catcher here. So no coaches interference in that, which personally, I love that. But we're getting to finally see it in spring training here. It's actually being like a trial run to see how well it could work for actually being in Major League Baseball. So, fellas, what I want to know is your 3 words only here talking about ABS. Is it good for baseball? All that splash. I saw your hand up. Let's start with you. What are your 3 words?
My 3 words are Tito hates fun. So Terry Francona, known World Series winner, known Cincinnati Reds manager now, said players don't challenge. Pitchers, catchers, hitters don't challenge. It's not going to be in the big leagues this season. So don't bother. Don't add strategy. I think he gave a caveat that young players who were going to play minor league baseball this year are allowed to. So effectively, Wild, posited, maybe there's some players that will try to big league in a good way and say, I'm not going to challenge. I'm going to make the big leagues this season. So I'm not going to practice something we're not going to need this year. But in all sincerity, this is a different sort of review than other sports like the NFL, VAR, and soccer. And I like how quick it is, right? You tap the helmet, tap the hat, and it takes 5 seconds. And I love the graphics. This is one of my favorite things about watching tennis is the Hawkeye. You have the camera, you get the ball, you get the black outline, the shadow of the ball. That is the coolest thing. I watch tennis for that.
Yeah.
Just for that. I like how it works. I like the universality of the strike zones, that it's not, it's like 27% of the body height. I think John Boy had a nice example with Judge versus Altuve in that regard. And I like it. I like that there's, umpire input for the vast majority of pitches, and umpires are really freaking good at their jobs. So this is not a case of, they're going to get every call wrong and you're going to see a bunch of challenges. Well, guess what? If you see a bunch of challenges, it's going to take like 30-second stops, right? For like multiple challenges. So I like that. There was a situation that teams can, the last pitch of the game, called strike, they're going to, tap the helmet. In minor league baseball last year, that happened in 30% of available opportunities. And there was one game, actually, my beloved Gwinnett Stripers, bottom of the 10th, down a run, called strike 3, pat the helmet, call overturned, Yuli Gurriel, or the player walks, next batter up, Yuli Gurriel laces a single, 2-run scorer, Stripers win. So there's you can have a bit of a delay, but you have a fun moment like that the Stripers had lost the game. The game was over. It's all over. Oh, pat the helmet. 5 seconds later, okay, new life. And then the next batter, bang. So that was a really cool story. And I'm in. I'm glad it's not full ABS as much as that wouldn't even streamline it necessarily because there is a bit of a delay. But I'm in. Tito Francona not in yet, but maybe one day he will be. Max Scherzer.
That was.
I love it. Trey Turner patting his helmet while the ball's
immediately first pitch in the game.
Here we go.
It's like I want to do this.
Just to mess with them.
It's like there was a ball in the dirt, Trey Turner. Why are you challenging it? No. Anyway, I want to say something really quick on what you were saying there, Splash, and that is I love the fact you brought up the umpires specifically. That it's showing that they're doing the job right here, but also the fact with your Gwyneth Striper story that means that the game itself got put back on the right course by this challenge here, and it gave instead of a free win to the other team, they had to still earn it correctly. So I like it.
And I think people will point out, oh, this is going to extend games. Not really, and with the pitch clock, this is maybe. Worst case scenario, you get 5 challenges in a game. They're 12 seconds. That's an extra minute at the ballpark.
Yeah, that's 1 minute.
Be serious here.
If you're doing it for every pitch of the game, right, then it would that will add up. Yeah. But if you have 5, 6 at most, that's a minute. And good job.
Here's the thing: teams are going to underutilize the challenge system. The first few innings, it's not going to be worthwhile. Even if a pitch has you'd have to have an 80% chance, in your brain. Oh yeah, this is going to be overturned most of the time. Teams are still not going to do that. They're going to say wait for higher leverage spots, and sometimes the higher leverage spots never come. Sometimes you swing, right, and not every this is not going to be used as often, in my opinion, for ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, strike 1, strike 2. It's going to be strike 3s. It's going to be ball 4s. There's going to be a lot of those, and then really obvious ones. I think occasionally those will slip through. So I think we're kind of overplaying how many times teams are going to challenge, because teams there's a challenge system already with replay review. Teams underutilize that. There are plays in the 3rd inning. Oh, it's not worth challenging. It's the 3rd inning. Maybe the umpires are going to screw us here, and also they get the feedback, but. I think it'll end up being underutilized, and it won't be too much of a story until we have a game, end like that.
Now, I think that so my 3 words are quick and easy. That's exactly what it is. I understand people's concerns, oh my God, people are gonna, teams are gonna abuse this system because they're gonna challenge everything. Well, you only get 2 challenges in a game, and it takes 5 seconds to confirm or overturn a call. It's not going to be when we have to zoom in, did the base runner actually touch the bag, or did did the fielder actually get his glove down, or is this ball fair or foul, or did it hit the railing or whatever? No, this literally takes 5 seconds to confirm or overturn a call. I think this is actually just fine. And to your point, Splash, the average MLB umpire, I think the accuracy rate on balls and strikes is 94%. So contrary to what a lot of people will say, umpires actually can do their jobs from time to time. Not everyone is Angel Hernandez. But I think, I think it's a solid system as long as we keep it to the 2 challenges per game. And, teams aren't challenging immediately out of the gate in the 1st inning. I think it's going to be a good system, and I'm curious to see when this does make it to the majors, because they're already doing it in the minors. And I think people in the minor leagues will tell you it's a good system. So yeah, I'm a fan.
I'm a fan as well. And that's coming from a guy that umpired for over a decade. I actually love this, because one thing that umpires, people think that umpires are divas, and some of us are here, but legitimately we just care about making sure that the game is played. And we want to make sure that we are being arbiters of a fair game. So my 3 words are proves umps right here is that, like you said there just a second ago, most of the challenges fail because the ump got the call correctly. I believe they said right now the terms that about 80% have failed here, which is like, wow, that's a number. Okay. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like, it's not that, and I hope I'm wrong. I just remember hearing this somewhere. But at the same time, I love this because it's making players really be a lot more accountable about what they think is a strike or a ball compared to what it actually is. Plus, on top of it, one thing that I love that it's showing more of is that the strike zone itself is not a two-dimensional object. It is a three-dimensional object. That if the ball ever touches that three-dimensional object, it is a strike. And that happens a lot with the ABS. It doesn't show fully in that 3D system, but you can see it from especially hitting like the little bits of the corner or hitting the little bit of the top. So yeah, ABS, it proves umps right.
So from some data at the minor league level, MLB experimented with three challenges per team per game, and they had 1 year with 3 and 1 year with 2. 3 challenge games had 5.8 challenges per game. 2 challenge games were 3.9 challenges per game. And for fans at AAA games, 71% said the optimal challenge is 4 or fewer for the whole game. Last year in testing, calls were overturned 51% of the time, so about 50-50.
I was talking about like this was in spring training.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I wanted a larger data set there, but
no, I appreciate you fact checking on that.
Yeah,
no, I do because I want.
I can't speak to the spring training data, and it's not in every ballpark, so not every team. Yeah. And there's going to be sort of some pitchers like Max Scherzer, like okay, whatever. But I would imagine Bowden Francis, if he's like, oh, I'm going to challenge this. I'm blanking on is it still Charlie Montoya, or did the Blue Jays get a new manager?
No, Montoya's still the manager.
Okay. Charlie Montoya might have a hemorrhoid if Bowden Francis challenges a call, but if Max Scherzer does, like it's okay, whatever.
He probably knows the strike zone pretty well, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Although Alejandro Kirk kind of burned him pretty bad the other day. That was another funny moment. But it'll probably be it'll probably be catchers, and it'll probably be hitters trying to overturn strike threes and overturn ball fours. So I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let us know what your guys' opinions on ABS are. You can use 3 words if you want. I would recommend it because it's a fun little exercise. Here, you can do it here on Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube, all that fun stuff. But now, guys, it is time for trivia. I will be doing trivia today. And, we've been talking about guys that have video game numbers, right? Like Ohtani, like Yordan Alvarez. Well, I have currently open to my right here MLB The Show 24. Now, with MLB The Show 25 coming out in, I believe it's like 10 days, something like that. Really close. By the way, big fan of MLB The Show here. It looks awesome this year. But I wanted to have a little challenge for you guys. There are a grand total. Actually, no. I'll save that part for right here. I want you guys to start naming players. You guys will each get 5 players where their overalls will be your score here. And so you each get 5 players to work with, but here's the kicker. You cannot use 2 rules, kickers. You cannot use anyone that is not a diamond live series, and you cannot use any diamond at 90 or above.
Oh my God.
So you can't go to the number 1 guys and be like, oh yeah, that's one thing. No, you got to kind of find who are the fringe elite players. There are a grand total of 43 players that fit within this mark. And this is just a live series, not any other weird stuff like that. And the last update for this game was not too far after the World Series was over. So anything that's happened in off season doesn't matter for this.
Is this just position players or
pitchers too?
Okay.
Pitchers too. All right.
And for those of us that don't play MLB The Show, This is 85 to 89 overall.
Correct.
Yeah, this is
85
the
to
Diamond
89.
Dynasty, the final updates of it.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
And it's not even so much about playing Diamond Dynasty or playing MLB The Show. What are the players at that fringe elite level here? And
Okay.
I will say this as well. If you do give me a name that is not within those confines, that is 0 points.
Okay.
So, like, say if you give me an 84 overall or 90 overall, that is 0 points for you. The one with the most points at the end will be the winner. So, I would like, really quick here, to determine who goes first, I have my fun little dice tower here. Mac, I would like you to call. Do you want to be odds or evens?
I'll be evens.
It is a 5, so
Okay,
Splash, you can have first pick.
Okay. Well, on brand for today, I'm going to go with Brent Rooker.
Brent Rooker.
I have no scale for this, by the way. I haven't played MLB The Show in years.
So, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think he's actually on the list.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know if he's a diamond. That's the tough part because his fielding holds him back.
Yeah, no, he is an 84 gold. So, unfortunately, that is 0 points for you.
All right.
All right, Mac, it is now over to you.
I believe this guy is in that confines. I'm going with William Contreras.
William Contreras. Going down the list here. Remind me of the team you finished off with again?
Brewers.
I figured. Double checking on that. William Contreras gets you 0 points. He was at 83 overall.
What? That is nonsense, dude. SDS, we gotta have a talk, man.
So, Splash, that's the thing right here. It doesn't matter if you have
Oh my
played.
God.
I could have sworn he was an 87.
Okay.
I have his live series card.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, or is this a snake draft or?
No, I'm just
No,
you won the
back to
thing,
you.
so
Okay.
just going.
I am going to go with George Kirby.
George Kirby.
I don't know,
pick,
man.
if I remember correctly.
I think he's a goal.
George Kirby nets you 85 points. He's
Yes!
85
Diamond,
overall.
okay.
Bang
I
bang.
didn't realize that. All right.
On to
I'm gonna
Matt.
go. I think this guy is a diamond, and I know he at least was diamond at one point in the season. I'm going with Mason Miller.
Mason Miller. Ooh, a fun pick.
I feel like he went diamond. I can't remember if he got pulled back. That's the issue.
So I'm getting it figured out here. Mason Miller nets you 88 points.
Let's go.
Yeah, Mason Miller finished off with an 88 overall.
There we go.
Yeah, so. All right, back to Splash.
Okay. I am going to go with Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill.
I think he finished the
Funny
year.
enough, actually, in the reveal trailer with MLB The Show 25 showing more Diamond Dynasty, Jackson Merrill was not a diamond.
That's weird.
He was a high gold. But
Okay, he did end the year hot.
Yeah.
Big playoffs. Or
all right, Splash.
I guess no, not on the big playoffs, but
Splash. Jackson Merrill nets you 87 points.
Dang.
Oh, wow. 87.
Finish up with an 87 overall. All right, Mac, on to you.
Now I'm trying to remember who else finished the year as a diamond. All right. I have a guy that I pulled a lot of times out of packs this year, and I believe he dipped below 90, but my question here is if he stayed below 90. Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole.
He may have gone back up to a 90, but he was like an 87 when I kept pulling him over the summer.
Garrett Cole nets you 88 points.
Let's go.
Back-to-back 88s for Mac.
tough
Yeah.
scenes here.
All right, it's a close game. Again, there's only a few
Yep.
points between the two of you. It comes down to one. It can come down to one mistake. Splash. On to you.
I'm gonna go Jackson Churio.
Jackson Churio.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
That's another interesting one here.
I think he finished the year as a gold.
Jackson Churio nets you 86 points.
Yeah.
What? He finished the year as a diamond. Okay, I'm wrong.
He did finish as a diamond, yes. All right, Mac, on to you.
Oh man. This is pretty difficult. I'll be straight up. I'm trying to think who could have finished the year as a diamond. I'm trying to remember who else I pulled. That's the thing, because like I know guys who are in my collection who are definitely diamonds. No, I'm not sure. Man, this is difficult, man. Okay, I think this guy went back to a diamond late. He got a diamond, but I don't know if he actually went back over 90. Francisco Lindor.
Ooh,
I'd like to say he was like an 87 or something.
That is an interesting pick.
He may have been like a 91 by the end of the year, so I'm not sure.
Mac, Francisco Lindor nets you 89
Oh, come
Oh
on,
my
man.
god, I got right on the fringe. I knew he
right
had gone up
on
to a
the
90.
line.
All
All right, Splash, you need to get something good here. You are currently trailing by, let's see.
Well, it's irrelevant how much I trail by. I have
Yeah,
to
basically,
get
it's going to come
85.
down to can you get one correct and Mac miss one.
Yeah. Because even if I get an 89, he gets an 85, I'd still be cooked. Okay. I'm going to go Jarren Duran.
Jarren Duran.
I think he finished the year as a diamond. I can't remember how high he got, though.
Let's see.
I don't think he got over a 90, but...
I have a team full of outfielders. JA outfielders.
Yes.
All right, Splash. Jarren Duran nets you 0 points.
What?
He finishes at 83.
How's that possible?
8.7 baseball reference war. Be serious.
I'm aware. No, I'm with
Wow,
you. All right.
Shocking,
Mac,
honestly.
you've won the game here, but would you like to do one more pick just for the fun?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think this guy finished the year as a diamond. I know he went diamond at one point in the season. I don't know if he actually finished there. Brenton Doyle from the Rockies.
I will say he is a diamond in MLB The Show 25.
I think he may have gone down. That's the thing. Because he finished the year kind of cold.
So Brenton Doyle finished as an 87. He also got you points.
Okay. I pulled him late in the year. That's how I know that.
All right. And so today's trivia champion, it's Mac. Mac has won today's trivia.
All those free packs were worth it. It helped me win trivia.
And this reminds me of when we did MLB Power Pros trivia.
All right.
2008, who had A Power. And it's Alex who's played the game religiously and Mac who is just trying to guess baseball players. Gave me big vibes for that.
I mean, to be fair, I understand this, but yeah.
Okay, backyard baseball. I got nothing there. But
name the players with 4 batting.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I remember just because backyard baseball, I did you guys separately when I was still in grad school, and so like Splash did one episode, and then the next episode was Alex. So like we got to compare results. I remember it actually was closer than I thought, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I won that, but
you did win it. But that's what
I had a big negative or something.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a good one because it made me think on who actually like completed the season and did well.
Yeah, that was part of it. I will say as well, the Rockies did only finish with 1 diamond, and it was Doyle.
Okay, yeah, I figured as much.
So
I can't believe so did not a single catcher finish as a diamond? Because I think Cal was
actually,
an 84.
That's a good question. Let me check.
Yeah, I think Cal got up to like 83 or 84, but didn't get to a diamond. So
No, there were 3 catchers that were diamonds. Will Smith finished
What?
at 87. Adley Rushman was an 86.
Yeah, that he should have been a 66.
Agreed. And
By the end of the year,
Yair
yeah.
Diaz finishes at 85.
Our hero. Our
Want to know the
3%
biggest
walk
crime though
team.
about it? The best catcher in baseball, Cal Raleigh, was an 81 overall, barely a
Right.
gold.
I remember because it's tough with these ratings is that they weigh like a whole bunch of attributes, and like Yainer Diaz is a great hitter. He doesn't do much fielding wise, but there's so many hitting attributes that like he ends up being a diamond overall.
Oh, this is why like Michael Harris is a top 5 player by our graphic cards.
Yeah, pretty
because
much.
they're like exactly his skills. But if you added like plate
Exactly.
discipline, he'd be like last.
Yeah. That's the thing is that like I think they nerfed Cal's contact and plate vision or something.
Yeah.
And like Contreras, they probably did similar things. I'm trying to remember because like Contreras at one point was my starting catcher with his live series card. I was not aware that he's a gold now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's tough scenes. Anyway, with that being said, it's now time for our final segment, the moment to ourselves, where we talk about whatever's on our mind. It does not have to be baseball related, but it absolutely can be. Splash, I saw your hand go up. So if you would like to start, you're more than welcome to.
Yes.
All right, I'll count you down. Your time begins in 3. Oh, what's up?
You can pop me up on screen so we don't have to back and forth.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Hi, friends. I'm going to talk about LeBron James today. He scored his 50,000th point last night when you combine his regular season and playoff numbers. 50,000. If you combine the careers of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, all the points they scored, LeBron has more. If you combine Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen, all the points they scored, LeBron has more. If you cut LeBron's career in half, 25,000 points on one side, 25,033 on the other side, he'd be 43rd all-time in scoring. That's ahead of Damian Lillard. That's ahead of Giannis. They're the next 2 active players who will cross the 25,000 point threshold. That is just incomprehensible. Just how many points LeBron has scored. And I know the minutes played, and he's taken the most shots. He's played the most total minutes. He's played the most total games. I get it. But in essence, he averaged 25 points per game for 100 games a season for 20 years. Now, the math there isn't perfect. He had years that he played more than 20 games in the playoffs and played, I think in 2018, I believe he played like 105 total games. So it's not perfect. There was a lockout season. There were years he did not make the playoffs with the Lakers and the Cavs. But 50,000 points. That Kevin Durant is one of the few players in the history of the sport that scores at a higher rate than LeBron. Kevin Durant got drafted when I was heading into first grade. I am now out of college. I've been out of college for 3 years. I was 6 when he got drafted. I turned 24 on Sunday. Kevin Durant is only 70% of the way to LeBron's total. And Kevin Durant's a more efficient scorer, more points per game, I believe both regular season and playoffs. He had more injuries, I'll give you that, but only 70% of LeBron's total. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played 21 seasons, played in countless playoff games, went to the finals, I believe, 10 times. And he's only 88% of LeBron's total. He's at 44,000. If you take out 6,000 points, that is all of Michael Jordan's playoff points, all of Kareem's playoff points. They're number 2 and number 3 all time in playoff scoring. If you take that out, LeBron's still ahead. Just on his regular season scoring, and the extra 2,000 points of playoff scoring because he has over 8,000 points in the playoffs. This is, this isn't like a GOAT case or anything. You know, MJ and LeBron, get check boxes in different, or get checks in different boxes, but just 50,000 points. 50,000 is such a profound number, such an incomprehensible number that it just it boggles the mind that the greatest scorers of all time, 40,000 points, right? Like Kareem, 38,387 regular season points. LeBron is 5% beyond that. I'll use a baseball example. Barry Bonds, 762 home runs. 5% beyond that, 6% beyond that, you're over 800 home runs. That's a full extra season of elite home run production. Beyond Barry Bonds, who hit 38 home runs a year for 20 seasons. The math works. So he played 22 seasons, so it's not quite that. But 38 homers a year for 20 years would get you to 760. Tack on another year, or hit 40 home runs a season. It's just preposterous. It is truly, truly preposterous.
Yeah, what amazes me is that he's 40 years old and still doing what he does.
Yeah, it's simply built different.
Yeah, and I get like the pace is up and the offensive ratings are up and the 3-point boom. Okay, then scale of stats down. How many 40-year-olds in the history of professional sports are averaging the equivalent of like 24, 6, and 6?
And also, like, it's just like I understand he's slowed down a little bit, but he's still like he's the most athletic 40-year-old I've ever seen in any sport. And like
they had the comparison stats wise that his 40-year-old stats are the same as his 2013.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, like the pace there is a little bit different, but that's insane.
Yeah, my brother's a Lakers fan, so like he obviously gets to watch LeBron a lot and Luka Doncic, and yeah, it's scary, really.
Like he's maybe like a tick behind like Cavs LeBron, and maybe like a full tick, a tick and a half behind Heat LeBron. He's a top 10 player in the NBA at 40.
You have this player that you can basically compare different eras of himself with.
Yeah, literally.
At that, they're all at that elite level.
You have first Cavs, you have Heat, Heat like LeBron, you have second Cavs.
Does LeBron have?
Like Heat LeBron, I lovingly referred to as heel LeBron because that was 100% the heel move to do.
Oh yeah. No, 100%.
Could you split LeBron's career in 3 and have 3 Hall of Fame careers? I think a basketball Hall of Fame maybe 4, honestly.
That's an argument that can happen. And that's,
like 04 to 09, you get an MVP, you get a finals trip, you get a scoring title.
10 to 14, obviously, you get 2 MVPs,
2 rings.
Then 14 to 18, and then 19 to present. It's like it's
like just all right. Mac, would you like to go next, or you want me to go next?
You can go. I'm doing a little thinking.
All right, sounds good. All right, can someone give me a countdown?
Yeah. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
So I want to talk a little bit about making sure that you're staying on top of health and all that, which I know coming from a fairly big guy feels kind of weird to say here, but as people you guys know, I've talked about this before, that I've dealt with depression for many, many years here. And I was able to go to the doctor a little bit ago, just talk about a few more things. And we found out some more interesting things that have now significantly helped my own mental condition here on this. And I just want basically to put the word out that go ahead. If you're scared about seeing a doctor or you're scared about something health-wise, just do it. Legitimately, find a doctor that you trust and put yourself first. That's one of the hardest things that a lot of people got to learn how to do, is to be able to put their health and put themselves truly first. And now that I'm finally able to start doing that, I can actually start to really feel like myself again. And I've definitely been feeling a lot better because we found out that after a little bit of blood work that there was one thing that was wrong, and now it's being completely addressed. And I'll tell you, I immediately have been feeling better, and I've not even been on the news for that long. Like, again, just make sure that if you feel something is wrong, don't ignore it. Get it checked out. The worst thing that can happen is that you have to get treatment going on something. Just get things figured out.
Yeah, no, and I
totally agree.
Yeah, it's definitely like your health should be your first priority, in my opinion. So yeah, I 100% agree with you.
All right, Mac. So you ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, so Jose Iglesias signed with the Padres today. I know in the grand scheme of things, like if maybe you're like just the general casual baseball fan, might not mean much, but there's that saying out there about there's that bond between a baseball fan and some random utility guy who played on your favorite team. For kids growing up, maybe around my nephew's age, maybe a bit older, Jose Iglesias was that guy this year. He batted .337. He produced a pop song, a hit single that was basically the fight song for the team this summer. I have an OMG T-shirt from the game I went to this summer, the one where I met Brandon Nimmo after the game. Iglesias did a lot for the team this year. I understand it wasn't meant to be that he was going to come back with all the young infielders around the team, but I'm definitely going to miss having him around. He meant a lot to the organization, to fans. It was a guy that, just everyone vibed with. And, I hope he does well in San Diego. I hope he makes the roster. It's only a minor league deal. I wish he could come back, but I really, really wishing Jose nothing but the best. OMG. I almost wish he could just be a Met again. But yeah, Jose Iglesias, he may have only spent about a little more than half a season with the Mets, but he will never be forgotten.
For me, that random utility player that I will love forever is Willie Bloomquist.
Yes.
Oh yes, Willie. Yes.
Dude,
yes.
I love Willie Bloomquist so much.
Willie Bloomquist is a legend. Yes.
But with that being said, yeah, it is truly the end of an era. And it was a very short era, mind you.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was 90 games, I think.
Exactly. But hey, I mean, an era is an era, man.
You got the Grimace season, you got the OMG season. This year, bread.
They were 10 games under 500, You
look back in the history books of 2024, the Mets season is going to be split into two halves, Grimace and OMG.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just realize what the heck happened, and yet
it was a simulation, really.
Yes. Anyway, that's going to do it for us for our show. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LAR_baseball.
Hey, we have MLB Power Pros graphics.
We do. The graphics are awesome.
Yep, they're
back.
The graphics are back. They look better than ever. And we actually have pictures this year.
Yes.
It's, again, major shout outs to Splash for these graphics. They look absolutely.
They look very good this year.
Legitimately, hey, if MLB Power Pros 2025 or 2026 wants to happen, we've already made the graphics. Like we're good at doing that.
Okay. They probably have like code, so they don't have to make these by hand.
I mean, yes, but here's the thing: we want the game back here, and we want to be intrinsically related to the game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is fair. Anyway,
we could be characters in the success mode.
Please,
or we could be the broadcast. We could replace Mia. That might be less interesting from a story standpoint, from a relationship standpoint. But hey, Konami, if you're watching, if you're listening, give us a cameo as like if Mia. Actually, here's the thing. So, some inside baseball. If you marry Mia in MLB Life, she no longer is the broadcaster. It just gets replaced by a random guy. We should be the random guys.
Honestly, I'm okay with that.
I'd be with that.
Just have also in MLB Life, there are like the people that would send baseball cards in or all the kind of stuff. Yeah,
we could be
happy to be that. Anyway,
I could play chess with you.
I would. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, let's play chess. Let's go see a movie. Let's just go drive and spend $200 on gas.
Some of those things are ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair, it was ahead of its time. It knew the gas price was going to be late.
Yeah. Imagine how much eggs costed.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, with all that being said, here's all. If you want to follow us individually, you can go follow me at the Sports Guy 242. You can go follow Mac at Mathias_A_K, and you can go follow Splash at Mr. Splashman19. It's on the screen here as well. You can also give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. Here, we are really cranking out the content over there, posting a ton of fun videos over there. Make sure you go and give us a like and a subscribe. But from all of us here at Losses Above Replacement, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.